Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Brood, and today we're going to be doing a late June wrap-up.
That's right. I read 6 things.
And I only read 3, so this is why it's taken us a while to do the wrap-up, because we didn't read that much.
Yeah, so low-key June. First thing I read was Witchling by Yasmin Galenorn. This was a paranormal mystery romance, sort of sexy story that we've got 3 sisters. This one focuses on the witch sister, Camille, and then Delilah's a shapeshifter, and Melanie is a vampire. So it's the 3 sisters. They run like a shop, and they're kind of emissaries between Otherworld and the human world. It was sort of a Laurel K. Hamilton sort of type thing where it's obvious there's going to be a whole harem of dudes that come in and out. And it was one of those ones where you go to a used bookstore and you see that there's a whole series there, a good chunk of a series, and it's the beginning of it. So I snatched them up, and I've got 8, I believe, of them. I might get to them, but this one was book of its time troubles. That's not what I look for in romance. Is the harem? Yeah, either way. I know some people call them reverse harems when it's men, but pointlessly gendered.
Yeah.
So that was a mediocre read. But we did it for Who Picked This Book Club, so there's a live show for it where we talk about a lot of things except the book because everyone was just kind of meh.
You know, when you first started talking about the premise of they're all a different kind of preternatural whatever, I was like, that's kind of weird. But then I remembered there was a TV show where it was like roommates, where there was a vampire and a werewolf, and they moved into a haunted
ghost, right? Yes.
house where a ghost was living there. Yeah. So it kind of gave me that vibe.
The next one I read is No Rest for the Wicked by Cressley Cole. This is the second in the Immortals After Dark series. And this is a much better paranormal book and series here. The first one was a bit rough. It had some consent issues right off the bat. It took some wherewithal to get through. This one is much better, much more equal footing between our heroine and hero. It's a vampire instead of a werewolf. I think it's still a Valkyrie in this one is our heroine, which is the best part of this series. The Valkyrie family is just awesome. Like they're all amazing.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. I liked the Valkyrie and the Thor movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a huge TBR for June, and I got to only 3 out of those things, which was really sad. But I was trying to read all trans or non-binary, either main characters or authors. And so the first thing I picked up was Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey, and Sarah Gailey is a non-binary author. And this tiny little novella has a non-binary supporting character / love interest, I guess spoilers, but not really. And then also almost the entire cast is female, and it's all sapphic. Like it's just ladies loving ladies. And this is such a weird novella because it takes place in this Western world, but it's also like dystopian. So it's like future, but like reverted back to the past. It gives me very strong, just really the whole trilogy of like 1984, the one where they burned books.
Fahrenheit 451. Brave New World.
I was trying to think if it does give me Brave New World. Maybe not so much Brave New World, but the other 2 definitely. And it is about a woman trying to run away to escape a terrible family life. And she wants to join these traveling librarians who are just this rough and tough crowd that take new books from, very rural areas to rural areas and bring new information and news. And she wants to become one. She falls in with them, and things get crazy, and there's a sheriff after them, and it's like 120 pages or something, but a lot of things happen. So I didn't love the writing style, but I loved the ideas behind this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The next thing I read in June is The Cracked Spine, Scottish book mystery #1 by Paige Shelton. This was also for Who Picked This Book Club. So this is a story where we have an American main character. She is moving to Scotland to work in this bookshop. And she has this sort of slight gift where characters in books near her, she can hear them talking, and so they'll say things to her, either just about themselves or lines from the book. This comes up in solving the mystery. There's this missing manuscript of William Shakespeare, that there was only one, and someone discovered it, and so they're trying to find it. A murder was involved, so it was interesting, but I did it on audiobook. I found myself drifting out of it, not paying attention. I don't know if I'm doing too many cozy mysteries because they're all starting to kind of blend together. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's for a cozy mystery. It was fine. It was perfect. It hit all the right elements, and it does what a cozy needs to do.
Yeah. It's an interesting premise. Like, books talk to her.
Not the books, the characters in them.
So the characters.
So, Tiny Tim would, start talking at her or something if she's near a Christmas Carol or something,
Weird. How weird. I mean, I love thinking about, like, where the author was headspace-wise when they came up with this idea. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. The next thing I read was The Daddy Quest by Laurie Handelin. This was the first category romance book I ever read, so we had a library sale in town, and I pretty much grabbed every single romance book they had for sale. So I have got like 13 Rosemary Rogers books. I don't even know if I like Rosemary Rogers, but they were 50 cents each, so I have them now. Anyway, back to this book. This is a story, so it's of the super romance line, so it's a higher word count than the romance or the special edition. Anyway, it's focused more on story than it is on the romantic elements of it. So this one specifically is about a single mother who their daughter runs away one day unexpectedly. And it is, we don't know this yet, but it is because she has found out that her father is alive and figures out his address, which is states away. So it's in Illinois and they're in Las Vegas. And so this 13-year-old girl just takes off to go find her dad because, she had a tiff with her mom. Things happen. The dad ends up in Vegas for reasons because of just a weird phone call between, this woman that he had a one-night stand with 13 years ago. It's such a great setup. So they come together to look for their kid that he didn't know he had, but oh my goodness, it was so sweet. It was just adorable. Dangerous situation to romanticize, though. In the form of fiction, it was wonderful. This was a great introduction into Harlequin category romance.
The next thing I read, and it was my favorite of the month, and that was No Man of Women Born by Anna Mardal. And I listened to this on audio. This was a collection of short stories. Most of them, well, I think all of them, but I didn't recognize all of them. So most of them are like famous folklore or like fairy stories or like fairy tales, But the main like linchpin in all the stories are, there's always like a prophecy or something that the bad guy cannot be defeated by a man or a woman or a child or something like that. There's, for each story, there is some sort of way that no one can solve the problem until a non-binary character comes along and is the hero, like, of the whole story. Like, they're coming into their power at the same time as, like, the whole story. Like, oh my god, they were so well done.
Yeah.
They were empowering and they were joyous instead of it being like a terrible coming out. It was more like a celebration. Like, you were the hero of our story, And yeah, they were absolutely fantastic. Made me cry in the best possible way. I really want a copy of this. It was so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The next thing I read is Live and Let Chai by Bree Baker, or also Julianne Lindsay. This is another Who Picked This Book Club read. So this is the Seaside Cafe Mysteries #1. So Everly Swan. It's interesting that I've read Patience Price, which was Julianne Lindsay's first trilogy, and the Geek Girl's Guide to Murder series. It's interesting having read that backlist and got to these ones that you can tell that she developed her craft enough that she felt she, I think, wanted to try again on some of the stories, because so many of the elements, the island setting, wild horses instead of wild ponies, returning home from a long time away, and having quirky family that's in the small town and stuff. And so it's, I'm not trying to say it's a cop-out at all. It is wonderful just to essentially get almost a redo of it, with this new character, Everly Swan, new to me. Yeah, it was great, and I'll leave a link to the live show for that one down below too. And then the last thing I read in June this was also for Who Picked This Book Club, but for the After Dark edition that we did. We read Dick Fight Island, #1 by Ribun Aiki. And so this is a manga that it is, so the premise here is that there's this chain of islands that's kind of been isolated from the main, society for a while, but they have a tournament every 4 years to decide their king. But the rules in it is, it's a tournament of one-on-one combatants, males, that the object is to make the other one reach orgasm before you do, or before they make you reach orgasm. So everyone's got every island has their own special technique, and then everyone's got their own special moves and stuff. And I'm gonna have the image of the cover up. That thing in the middle there is armor. It's armor. It's not a weapon. I was very worried for a moment that those were weapons that they were going to be using on each other, and it was so, just to put your mind at ease there. But this was hilarious. I was just losing it while I was reading this, and they didn't understand. I tried to get them to read it too, but it was a little too bananas for them.
I cannot believe you guys read that. That's crazy.
I'll leave the link to the live show for that one. That one was pretty crazy. All right, so that was everything I read in June.
Yes, and then I read Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas, which is a YA Latinx trans main character love story involving ghosts. It was a lot, maybe a little too much. But that being said, the main point of it, yes, there was a lot of family, a lot of culture, a lot of this brewhex and, being caretakers of the cemetery and the spirits and all of that, which was great. My favorite part of it, really. But the main story was just a typical YA love story, but it was a trans love story, a gay trans love story, but it was treated the same as any YA romance, just teenager. It wasn't overly because the character was already out, so it wasn't a coming out story. It was just a love story.
Nice.
But then the adventure part of it was there's ghosts.
Okay. Not too heavy on tragedy and stuff too.
No. Well, I mean, it hit so many YA tropes. It really, really did. It was so YA because, I called the bad guy page 5 or something like that. But that being said, I mean, it was well done for what it was, and I knew going into it that it was a YA. So yeah, that is what we read in June.
All right. If you read any of the things we read in June, let us know in the comments down below. Go ahead and link us your wrap-up down below, and we'll see you in the next video, everyone.
Bye.